Psychology says most people don't fail their goals because they're lazy. They fail because the human brain was never designed to run on motivation. Every January, millions of people feel inspired, set ambitious goals, and promise that this year will be different. And yet, within weeks, most habits disappear. Behavioral psychology calls this predictable failure, not personal weakness. The first brutal fact is this: motivation is unreliable. Psychology shows that motivation spikes emotionally, but habits require stability. Your brain doesn't like effort, it likes efficiency. Motivation depends on mood, sleep, stress, and dopamine levels. That's why relying on motivation is one of the fastest ways to fail a habit. The brain doesn't build routines through excitement, it builds them through repetition. This leads to the second brutal truth: your habits are automatic, not intentional. Psychology explains habits using the habit loop. A cue triggers a behavior, which leads to a reward. Once this loop is established, the brain stops asking for permission. That's why you sometimes reach for your phone without deciding to, or snack without hunger. You don't consciously choose habits. Your brain runs them in the background to save energy. Trying to break a habit without changing the cue almost never works. If the environment stays the same, the brain repeats the behavior. That's why willpower fades, but habits return. The loop remains intact. The third brutal fact is uncomfortable for many people. Goals don't change behavior, identity does. Psychology shows that people act in alignment with who they believe they are. Someone who says, "I want to exercise," behaves differently from someone who says, "I am someone who trains." Identity-based habits last longer because they reduce internal resistance. When behavior matches identity, the brain experiences less conflict. This is why temporary challenges fail. They don't change how you see yourself. Real habit change begins when actions become evidence of identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your self-image. Another brutal truth is this: environment beats discipline every time. Psychology research consistently shows that behavior is shaped more by surroundings than by willpower. Visual cues, accessibility, and friction silently control decisions. If unhealthy food is visible, you eat it more. If your phone is nearby, you check it more. This has nothing to do with self-control. The brain responds to cues automatically. Highly effective people don't rely on discipline. They design their environment. They remove friction from good habits and add friction to bad ones. This is why changing your environment is often more powerful than changing your mindset. The fifth brutal fact is about effort. Intensity doesn't build habits, consistency does. The brain rewards repetition, not difficulty. Psychology shows that small behaviors repeated daily rewire neural pathways faster than extreme actions done occasionally. Big goals feel productive, but small habits are sustainable. The brain prefers actions that feel achievable and familiar. This is why shrinking habits works. A habit that feels too easy is more powerful than one that feels impressive. The brain builds trust through consistency. So how do you actually use these brutal psychological facts for your 2026 goals? First, stop relying on motivation. Build habits that can survive low energy days. Second, identify the cue before trying to change the behavior. Replace habits, don't erase them. Third, shift identity before outcomes. Focus on who you are becoming, not what you want to achieve. Fourth, redesign your environment so good habits are obvious and bad habits are inconvenient. And finally, lower the bar. Make habits small enough that your brain doesn't resist them. Psychology doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to patterns. And once you understand how habits actually work, change stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a system. That's how habits are built. And that's how 2026 goals finally stick.